Chapter 4. Contact through the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And without him was not anything made that was made. Speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Your words originate all that happens to you. They are the law unto you. Your words and your thoughts are the source of all your experience. Every belief that you entertain is a mold into which life pours substance in a continuous stream. To contact God through the Word there are 4 steps. Speak the word of truth. Fast from the careless word. Feed the word of truth. Form a new mental equivalent. If you place a glass of muddy water under a faucet so the clear water runs directly into the glass, the constant flow of pure water will clean out the mud. As mud cannot long remain in a glass into which pure water is constantly flowing, sickness and limitation cannot remain in the body and affairs of the one into whose consciousness the Spirit of truth is constantly flowing. The word of truth is comparable to the turning on of the faucet under the flow of the spiritual power released by your word. That which is sick or limited is washed away, and body and affairs are filled with health and prosperity. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. True and lasting demonstrations of healing are accomplished by constant right use of your word. True healing comes with the spiritualization and repolarization or redirection of the mind. It comes with the recognition that God is the only presence and power in your life, and is embodied in you as perfection and wholeness according to your faith. The natural condition of the body is soundness, wholeness, and perfection. Nature is always on your side to heal, upbuild, and recreate. As your word is the instrument that God uses to form substance and to restore and make you whole, your word, rightly formed and spoken, will bring forth whatever you need. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. If you hold popcorn over an intense flame, it will become so filled with heat that it suddenly bursts into a new pattern. So it is with your word. Once you unite yourself with God power, healing takes place. It is as natural as the bursting of the popcorn into its new pattern. The word spoken out of a God-filled consciousness, the word into which the Christ has entered, has such tremendous power to heal and to bless that it destroys all former limitations. Emerson said the utterance of true idea by one with a mission causes kings to totter on their thrones. Jesus said, "The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life." He is speaking of what happens in your words when you are united in mind with God power. The words that he spoke were creative words so vivified with God's presence that they demonstrated instantly anything he said. St. Luke said, "They were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power." What was with power mean? Does this mean that he had a different kind of word than you have? No. It is not the word that is different, but the power within it. Jesus' mind was united with divine mind, and God spoke through his word. You too can speak with power. By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Your word always has the exact amount of power your contact with God gives it. It is determined by your consciousness of the presence and the measure of your belief. God will always give that which you can take and nothing more. The degree of your taking is determined by the degree of your mental acceptance. As thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. The power of God is unconditioned and unlimited, but if your mental equivalent is only a 10-watt variety, he can only give you 10 watts of power. God is life, God is mind, God is power, but life, mind, and power have to flow through you to manifest in your life. You do not have to provide the power, but you do have to provide the belief through which the power is to flow, the mental equivalent upon which it is to act. It is always the belief that attracts the condition necessary for the fulfillment of the thought. Things do not just happen to you. It is the law of mind that nothing can happen to you, either good or bad, that is not first accepted as a belief in your own consciousness. Would you speak words with power? Then give spiritual words place in your mind. Make room for them. Lucius Humphrey said, "To perceive an idea, to grasp it, to hold it, and to use it, continues to be the rule for successful accomplishment." Ernest Holmes says, "As water will freeze into the form that it is poured, so substance will solidify only into the form that our thought takes." Jesus said, "Keep my words." To keep a word means to hold it in your mind by recognition and realization until it manifests in your life. To keep a word, you must meditate upon it, Revolve it in the mind, go over it in all its aspects, and believe in it as truth until it forms in you a consciousness of itself. St. Paul said, "Let Christ, or truth, be formed in you." Just as the soil holds a seed from which a beautiful flower or a great tree springs, so must you hold the word of truth in your mind until the embodied idea appears in your experience. To hold the word of truth, you must give yourself to the truth that it represents. You must speak it aloud in the silence until the very ether and substance of your body vibrate with it. Then you touch the seamless robe and find healing. Jesus said, "If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you." It is the holding of the word in mind that unites the human consciousness with the Christ consciousness, and gives you the power to demonstrate over all the adverse conditions in your life. It is the holding of the word in the mind that gives you the power to demonstrate whatever you need or desire. When the human mind, the Christ mind, and the God mind are perfectly synchronized, then and only then do your thoughts and words become alive with power and produce results according to their nature. Can you implement this process? Yes, by giving spirit to the thoughts you think and to the words you speak. How do you do this? By thinking living thought. By giving depth of life and feeling to every thought. Feel the Christ presence in your thought. Charge your thought with interest and deep feeling just as you charge your automobile battery with electricity. Keep repeating your word. Affirm it often. God will fill it with His power, and the result will astonish you. If it is health you want, impress this divine state of being deeply upon your subconscious mind. Think of yourself as being strong, healthy, and well. Think of yourself as growing in strength and health constantly. The second step in the process of contacting God through the Word is fasting. That is, abstaining from using negative words. Just as a good gardener will keep his seed free from weeds, a good truth student will keep his mental garden free from all negative thought structures. He will put out of his mind all the beliefs that bind him to old conditions, all the imperfect thoughts that cause the unpleasant conditions, and all those that resist and oppose the truth must be starved out. They must be dropped out of consciousness by refusing to give them attention of any kind. If you are to touch the seamless robe through your word, like the woman in the story, you must push aside all negative and ungodlike ideas. You must push through all inhibitions, doubts, fears, and worries, and fix your vision steadfastly upon the Christ. To many persons, fasting from false beliefs and words is mental drudgery, but no other practice pays such large dividends. When you set out to bring into manifestation some new experience, the important thing is to guard yourself against the thought of the opposite nature. Why? Because the opposite thought may entirely neutralize the desired image, or at least weaken it. If your words are to be swift and strong and to infuse your divine energy of God into your mind, they must be free from all encumbrance. The author of Hebrews said, "Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset it." A divided word cannot produce positive results. A third step in contacting God through the Word is to feed your word of truth, to feed it to the bursting point. Make your word so vital, so strong, so big, and so important that it takes up all the space in your consciousness. The command is to occupy till I come. Since it is the subconscious state of your thought that determines what is going to happen to you, you must hold your word until you know with both the conscious and subconscious minds. You must hold it until thinking the truth becomes the ruling habit. To occupy till He comes means you must know only God and His ever-present goodness. God only in man. God only in your consciousness. God only in your emotions. God only in your body. God only in your bank account. God only in your home. God only in your friends and relatives and every stranger. Occupy till I come means that you see God and God only in every person, place, and thing. It is not God in sickness, but God only. It is not God in poverty, but God only. It is not God in the problems, but God only. Omnipresence means all presence, and all presence means God only. God everywhere. One of the causes for failure in spiritual demonstration is that the demonstrator does not hold and hew to the line. He divides his attention. He judges according to appearance. St. James says of such a one, "He that wavereth is like a wave on the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Let not that man think that he shall receive anything from the Lord." You see and think with God only when you give every ounce of your thought substance to omnipresent good. The fourth and most important action is building a new mental equivalent. What is a mental equivalent? It is a vehicle or pattern for thought. It is an image, belief, or embodiment within yourself of the thing you are asking for. Jesus said, "Whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that you have received them, and ye shall have them." When ye pray, believe. In other words, ask for what you believe you have instead of asking for what you believe you do not have. The belief is not only the mental equivalent, but the guarantee of the thing you are asking for. Without the belief or mental equivalent, your prayer will avail nothing. It doesn't make any difference where you go or what you do. You will never attract anything to yourself but that which you have in your thought. Heaven and hell are within your thought, and they will go with you wherever you go. The law of the Lord is perfect, but it always works the way you use it. It works through your belief, thoughts, and words. God responds to you by corresponding to your states of thought and your mental equivalent. To make a demonstration, you must first have a mental equivalent of the thing you want to demonstrate. It must be formed within you by desire, affirmation, and realization. "If I may but touch the hem of his garment, I shall be whole," was the mental equivalent of the woman who sought Jesus. The supreme moment to demonstrate the truth is that moment when things on the outside look the worst. The greatest rewards often come in the midst of the greatest difficulties. Mind, however, will always evolve your concepts exactly as you involve them. The former things have passed away. Behold, I make all things new. Note the order of this statement. The old things pass away first, and then new things take their place. St. Paul said, "Put off the old and put on the new, which is Christ." The only way to destroy an old, wrong thought pattern is to stop using it and supply its opposite. If you have an inborn hatred of someone, you do not destroy the pattern of hatred by saying, "I am not going to hate him anymore." Say rather, "Christ in me loves him." When you think love instead of hatred, your problem is solved. If your body is sick and someone asks you how you are, betray your mental equivalent of health by saying, "Not so well," or even, "I am feeling better." Since the real man is always well, the scientific answer is, "I am perfect." If you are told, "Do not think of your body," you tend to concentrate your thought on it. But if you are told, "Think of the seamless robe of Jesus," you no longer pay attention to your body, but think of that perfect consciousness in which all healing takes place. You have switched ideas in your mind, and this process is the key to the management of your thinking. The plan of salvation does not consist of changing one negative thought for another, but in supplanting negative thoughts with constructive thoughts. It is a process of substitution. You let go of the old in order that you may take hold of the new. If you put a coin in the telephone and get a wrong number, and then put in another coin to get the right number, the second coin takes the place of the first coin. That is what happens in your consciousness when you substitute one mental equivalent for another. The kingdom of God, or good, said Jesus, is within you. What does within mean? It means the belief, image, thought, or word. In contradistinction, the without means form, effect, experience. For everything in your experience, both good and bad, there is a mental equivalent. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If the things that stand about you in form are not to your liking, you can change them by building new mental equivalents. It makes no difference what you wish to demonstrate. It can come to you only through forming the mental equivalent of that thing. First, you destroy the pattern of the undesirable things in your life by non-recognition. Then you build the new mold for the things you really want, and they come into your experience. The only purpose this book can possibly have for you is to help you change your thought about the unpleasant conditions in your life. When you keep your thought changed, circumstance and conditions will change accordingly. If you want strength, you must stop thinking weakness, vacillation, and instability. You must think instead wholeness, peace, harmony, and health. If you want supply, you must stop thinking poverty, limitation, and scarcity. You must get the habit of thinking of God's munificent riches and unstinted generosity. There is no hidden secret or magic key to spiritual demonstration. But if you were to ask, what is the real secret of success in metaphysical work? The answer would be, change your mind and keep it changed. You do not demonstrate new things, new conditions, or no circumstance. You demonstrate mental equivalents and nothing else. When you know that the only thing you can demonstrate is a mental equivalent, you will give your attention to your thinking and nothing else. Right now, take the biggest problem in your life, the thing that is troubling you most, the thing that you have been wanting to get rid of, and change your thought about it. If need be, write your problem on a paper and go over it in all its aspects and ramifications. On one side of the paper, list all the negative aspects of the problem, and on the other side, change each to the positive aspect. This practice will help you see the scope of your work you have to do in changing your thought. The column of negatives will, of course, represent the things you must cease thinking about, the things that must be ignored and dropped out of your mind. The column of positives will represent the changes that must be made in your thought, the new mental equivalents that you are going to substitute. Let us suppose your greatest problem for the moment is one of sickness. On one side of your chart, you will list all the thought structures or patterns that enter the present picture. On the other side, you will list the opposite positive thought. Your list might look like this: old mental equivalents, negative; sickness, the positive, health; illness, positive, wholeness; worry, positive, trust; confusion, positive, peace; fear, positive, confidence; disease, positive, ease; discord, positive, harmony. Be perfectly honest with yourself in this analysis of your thinking. Include in the column of negatives everything that may have a bearing on your illness, such as pride, envy, greed, selfishness, stubbornness, jealousy, vanity, hatred, cynicism, grief, antagonism. Then proceed to nullify the adverse mental states by substituting the opposite states and impressing them deeply on the subconscious mind. In time, this practice will eliminate the tendency to negative thinking and increase the habit of constructive thought. As you change your thought and keep it changed, the tendency towards sickness and disease will decrease, and the tendency towards health will increase. The new mental equivalent firmly held in mind will gradually produce more perfect conditions among the physical organs, functions, and faculties, until the whole tone and condition of the body are changed and transformed. Be patient and be determined. You will contact the seamless robe only by keeping your thought changed into the new conditions. It is the only way to build a new mental equivalent. If you persevere, you will be astonished at the result. Speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. In speaking the word, go back over your chart and determine just what the word is that you need to speak. For every negative condition, there is a corresponding positive condition. Find the word that best describes it in you. Suppose one of your negative conditions is confusion. Your new word of mental equivalent should be spoken along these lines: no negative thought of confusion can work in my mind or become manifest in my body, for I am the ever-renewing, ever-unfolding expression of order and peace. You will note in this affirmation that you have used both negative and positive aspects of this particular problem, but have overcome confusion with peace. If you wish to use a blanket affirmation to cover the entire problem, then use some such statement as this: the rejuvenating power of the Holy Spirit is now at work in every cell and fiber of my being, making my flesh pure, fresh, and radiant with divine life and wholeness. If your problem is one of waste, as indicated on the chart, build a new mental equivalent by this affirmation: there is no waste or lack in the ever-changing life of God. The Christ mind now conserves the life substance in me and directs it to build a pure, incorruptible body that will endure forever. The important thing to remember about affirmations is that they should be used many times a day, and especially at those times when your thought returns to the negative conditions you are trying to change. Affirmations should never become mere repetition. Each one must be said with a deep feeling of the truth that is represent. Each affirmation must be felt deeply in every fiber of your being. Remember, too, that affirmation should always be used in the present tense. It is true now. If you are sick and hope to get well only in the future, the subconscious mind can give you nothing in the present. The subconscious mind responds to you by corresponding to your states of thought. The subconscious mind can give you in the present only what you accept for yourself in the present. In spirit, now is the only time there is. Now are we the sons of God. Perceive this fact, grasp it, hold it, make it your own. A good question frequently asked by truth students is, why is it necessary to use affirmations? If God is good and is everywhere equally present, why is it necessary to declare or affirm the fact? There are two reasons why it is necessary to use affirmations. First, the constantly affirmative state of mind furnishes the finest growing conditions for mental seed. Second, the student is helped to keep his eyes single upon the image of truth he wishes to realize. An affirmation scientifically used terminates in realization, and realization culminates in demonstration. An affirmation is a mental equivalent embodying the truth about God expressed in such a way as to convey to the mind the essence of truth. When the mind feels the soul of the affirmation, the contact has been made, the truth is realized, and you are free. Jesus said, "Somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me." Whoever touches the me will receive the same virtue.